For MEAT+POULTRY.com, I'm Erica Schaefer, Senior Digital Media Editor. McDonald's Canada recently announced the launch of its green concept restaurants in Vancouver and British Columbia. And these restaurants basically are testing sites for a variety of sustainable packaging and utensil solutions. So customers visiting these special stores will see paper straws and wooden cutlery and stir sticks. Cold drinks, specifically medium-sized ones, will be served in cups that are acceptable in recycling streams. Now, the Green Concept Restaurant is one in a series of measures McDonald's has taken over the years to reduce their restaurant's environmental footprint. But how did McDonald's get to this point in the first place? To find out, I talked to Bob Langert, a former McDonald's Vice President over Sustainability Initiatives and author of The Battle to Do Good, Inside McDonald's Sustainability Journey. So we are recording, and I wanted to start off with your choice for the book title, The Battle to Do Good. Why is doing good a battle for corporate America, even though more corporations are saying we need to be better citizens in the communities where we operate and for the consumers or customers that we serve?
Well, when I came up with the title, The Battle to Do Good, I was thinking on it on many levels, and the level that you speak of is certainly true. When a company like McDonald's gets attacked, sometimes I felt like we were being attacked left and right and every day. Whether it's, movies like Super Size Me, the book Fast Food Nation, which really cut at the heart of McDonald's, the different campaigning groups. You can't help but feel that you're, in a battle, society wanting certain things, business doing what it does. But it's also meant to be not only about the external world coming at you, it's also the inside, what happens in a company. And I want to really reveal, I call it a battle because, getting anything done in a business is hard, anything. And when it comes to sustainability, almost all the issues that I worked on for almost 3 decades, they're all new things, implementing a new animal welfare program or implementing new packaging policies, et cetera. So as you know, human nature, when you start something new, it's always a challenge. Also, it's a battle maybe even at an individual level, so it's a little bit of a personal journey for me, so sustainability is definitely a team sport. It takes a big village and a lot of different people to get things done. So I wanted to get at the individual level as well. It wasn't meant to be, I view it as a positive term because, my whole approach was to be optimistic. But to come into work and to think that it's easy, you're fooling yourself. So, I always geared up every day as somewhat of a battle, and you got to take the hill. And the approach to it would be is interesting because you really can't take a negative approach to it. And I think sometimes that's the problem that you referred to. But, more and more companies are turning the battle into an opportunity, I think, as you referred to.
Did you take those attacks personally?
Well, no, I didn't. Well, I guess you're right. I did take them personally because you know what? What happens when the company gets to be a symbol of waste or a symbol of obesity, or we don't pay enough people. You end up going to your parties in your neighborhood and you talk to your friends and your neighbors, and you're getting these questions that put you on the defense. So in some ways, it is personal. Because it makes you feel, maybe a little bit bad. Oh, I work for a company that other people don't respect, or here I am leading a company trying to do good things, and other people maybe don't understand it. But I think more than that, certainly from a company perspective, many times people like me, and sometimes you feel it's not fair what you're being attacked on and for.
The idea that companies should talk about their successes is a key theme in this book. How well did McDonald's communicate the company's successes in the beginning?
I think the communication efforts for us at McDonald's in terms of trying to convey to the public, to stakeholders, to consumers, what we were doing on the sustainability front, I would give us a flunking grade. It just was something we had trouble doing. For many years, we didn't want to toot our horn. The head of communications for many years said that the strategy was to get caught doing good. So in some sense, you're just kind of waiting for others to define what you're doing. I think even companies today are struggling with this, to be honest with you, because every time you try to get out there and maybe tell a good story, the fact is, no company is perfect, and sometimes it opens you up for attack. So I think it's an area of opportunity for companies to figure this out. Companies need to really get into the fact that you need to be open and transparent. Too many companies want to just talk about a perfect world. Well, it's not perfect. No matter what you do, no matter what initiative you're leading, there's always going to be some problems, and you need to recognize the progress along with the problems. And a lot of companies just aren't ready to do that.
Do you see that progress has been made by McDonald's in communicating what the company is trying to do?
Oh, well, if your question is about McDonald's, for sure, I think with McDonald's finally in our journey, we became more and more convinced that the good work that we were trying to do and the achievements that we thought we were making were very important for the brand health. I talk about in the book, about how we measured brand health, and we had 42 indicators. 21 of them were long-term indicators of do you care for the environment, your supply chain responsibilities, do you care about your people, do you have ethics, etc. And, our brand, our researchers said for every 1% increase in brand health, it's a 2% increase in sales. So it became really transparent that we just can't sit around and wait for others to share the story about McDonald's social responsibility efforts. It's an important part of our brand, which means it's an important part of our business success. So you are seeing McDonald's do more. They're calling it scale for good and doing more, open communication. And I do think the better companies that have open communication, one of my pet peeves about people that communicate in this area is that they always say we got to tell our story more, and I keep saying that's not what we need to do. We need to share the story. The whole social media phenomenon, which is just historic and transformative, requires it's not a one-way dialogue anymore. You need to share, listen, and have exchanges with your stakeholders. And better companies are doing that, but I still think there's a lot of laggards.
Well, consumers expect businesses to be socially responsible these days, so does that make doing good easier for corporate America?
Well, it's interesting that you use the term easier. I wouldn't want to label anything easier, but I would say that the tipping point for McDonald's was when we recognized that you can't just sit around and be reactive. And for a couple of decades, that's what we did. And we did a lot of good things, being reactive, living in a crisis management mode, and addressing important issues from society. But they were always on the defense. So when we finally came up with a strategic framework in 2014 that said, here's what we stand for, here's our goals and tactics, here's how we're going to measure ourselves. And it all comes from the C-suite. This is not an add-on or a bolt-on. This is actually part of doing business. That's when it becomes, in your terms, easier. Because now you have a roadmap. You know what you're trying to achieve. You're rallying your internal system, your suppliers, your owner-operators. You're working with stakeholders to achieve something that's very focused. And so I think that's what makes it better for companies, because otherwise, if you don't have a strategy and framework, you're just at the whim of whatever comes to you day in, day out.
How important was it to have top-level executives backing your efforts?
Well, having the CEO back our efforts and the whole C-suite in its entirety, what can I say? It's absolutely critical, imperative. This idea that you can, from the ground up, do things is true, but it's always going to be limiting. This effort has to come from the top levels. It has to be looked at as a part of doing business and to be integrated. And just to give you an example of how far McDonald's has come, during many of my years leading sustainability at McDonald's, I was either a one-man team or maybe 1 to 3 people reporting to me over the years. Today, there's over 40 people working on sustainability within McDonald's globally. And that's a testament that it means something to them. It's not PR, it's strategy, and it's getting integrated into the business.
That's the show for this week. Next week, part 2 of my conversation with Bob Langert. He discusses the power and importance of partnerships and characteristics of organizations that make the best partners to help a business achieve its goals. For more podcasts and the latest news from the meat and poultry industry, head to our website, www.meatpoultry.com. And stay social with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching @MEAT+POULTRY. I'm Erica Schaefer. Thanks for listening.